Still says it's starting. Oh, it says I'm live. I'm live. I'm live. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me back here at Dice Tower headquarters. We are streaming live. And wow, that looked really weird. Anyway, with me doing the little poppy things going on. But anyway, that is that. Thank you for joining me. I've already said that. I'm going to say it again because I do appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to just spend a few minutes here jabber-jawing with me, asking me questions. So we already do have some questions that have been queued up, and I know Tom doesn't allow those usually to fly, but I will because this is my Q&A. So first of all, Corey Small says, have you considered doing some sort of about the Dice Tower videos? I'm curious as to how you all came about to know each other and your backstories and such like that. You know, that's an interesting idea, but honestly, our lives behind the scenes here at the Dice Tower aren't really that flashy. If we did something like that, especially, you know, like a day in the life of, there would be a lot of footage of us just sitting at a computer editing, more often than not. So I don't know how riveting that would actually be. I mean, we're not talking about, you know, a show like Wahlberg's where you can follow Donnie Wahlberg around for a day and all of the stuff that he gets to do, but it's nothing like that. It's nothing like anything like that. So, you know, it's, I don't know. We'll put some thought into it. I can't promise you we're actually going to do it because that's kind of a niche thing and it's kind of outside of everything else we do. Was I a part of Tom's ministry in Korea? Yes, I was, in a number of different ways. We worked together in the same schools. We usually went to the same church. So we worked with a lot of the same kids and the same kind of ministry aspects and that type of thing. So, yeah, the answer to your question is yes. What are your thoughts on Cacao from Z-Man Games? I have none because I have not played it, nor do I have any interest in playing it. I apologize for flippantly answering that, but that's just the way it is. What's the most stupid question you get before a convention and during? I don't know that I have a stupid question. My parents always taught me the only stupid question is the one that doesn't get asked. And I know that there are a lot of caveats to that, you know, because people can think of, you know, literally stupid questions. That is to say questions that don't make any sense. And of course, the answer wouldn't make any sense either. But, you know, I tell my kids, if you have questions, ask. I always told my students, if you have questions, stop me, ask, you know, that type of thing. So I don't have people ask me stupid questions. I like to chit chat with people especially at conventions, because, you know, it's kind of important to them, and as such, it's important to me. So I like to give them the time that they deserve, I guess you could say. So I don't think there are any stupid questions. Let's see, what specific game got you into gaming? Oh, wow. Well, if we go all the way back, it would probably have to be checkers with my grandpa. And that's probably the first game that I learned how to play. I remember having Hi-Ho Cherry-O as a kid and playing that with my grandparents as well. So those are way, way, way back. As far as modern gaming is concerned, I would probably say, I'm going to say probably Citadels was the linchpin as far as getting me solidly back into this is a really fun type of hobby type game. But I mean, there's also, I played Risk and you know, that type, Axis and Allies, I played those as well. But I think my modern foray into gaming was probably clinched by Citadels. That's one of the earliest ones. I hardly see Scythe mentioned as one of your favorite games. Well, it is one of my favorite games, but it also has a very niche place within my likes and dislikes. It's a strange hybrid almost, but I do enjoy it. The artwork is amazing. Gameplay is fun. The components are out of this world, so it hits on all the cylinders that I want it to hit on, and I do enjoy it, but it is a little bit of a meatier, longer game, so it doesn't hit the table as often as it probably would warrant, but I do enjoy it, and I do have fun with it. Let's see here. What are some must-haves? Let me, I'm going to pop out the chat real quick, so hang with me for just a few moments. That makes navigating it a little bit better, and the entries stick out a little bit better for me. So, okay, now we're ready. What are some must-haves when starting painting miniatures? You know, if you're just getting started out, you should probably start off with just some basic paint brushes from Michaels, some basic acrylic paints from Michaels, you know, a can of Krylon base coat from Michaels or Hobby Lobby or whatever your local hobby store is, and just try out with that stuff first. I was actually talking to a guy last night that is from Mexico, David, who he was at the Cool Stuff meetup, and he said that he's been wanting to try out painting miniatures, and I said, you know, well, he said he was apprehensive to do it. He was scared because he didn't want to, first of all, he didn't know how hard it was going to be, he didn't know if it was going to be something he was going to like, and he didn't want to mess up his models for these games that he has. So I told him, buy yourself a $1 or $2 bag of plastic soldiers, buy yourself some basic paints, basic brushes, and just practice on those soldiers. Use some of the stuff that Rob and I have gone over in our videos, you know, the battling brushes and what Rob has done on his channel as far as basic techniques and that type of thing, and just practice. And then once you get comfortable doing that, then move on. Or if you find out that you don't like it, you've messed up a $2 bag of plastic miniatures, you know. So that's what I would say is a lot of the stuff that people have, like airbrushes and wet palettes and all of this other kind of stuff, that's further down the road. You don't need to start off with that stuff. I mean, yeah, you need to maybe you want to go there it depends on how far down that rabbit hole you want to go, but just basically starting out, it's a lot of the stuff that you already have around your house, basic paints, basic brushes, give it a whirl. That's really about it. Let's see here. What are your favorite underrated games? Wow. I don't know. I haven't given that much thought. I tend to not think that my games are underrated. Maybe that's a little too egocentric, but no, I mean, I tend to like games that a lot of, well, maybe not, maybe that's not true. I was going to say that I tend to like games that a lot of other people like, and so I don't think that they're underrated. I also understand that my likes have kind of a niche as well within the hobby, so I know that most of my games, the games that I really enjoy, aren't going to really rank really high with all of the other ones there, but I mean, some of them do, but not all of them. So I don't know, I guess I just don't usually think of a game as being underrated, maybe overlooked. Maybe that would be another way to look at it. I think that Onitama is probably slightly underrated by some. They just don't give it what it's worth. I think that Tannhäuser is criminally overlooked and underrated. That's probably one of my favorite underrated games. That's probably pretty close to the top of that. Let's see here. Are there any games that are banned from your table? Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think I'll ever play Cards Against Humanity. I don't think I'll ever play some of those games that really kind of go off of the fetish type areas and that type of thing. And games that generally have what I would consider inappropriate things in them, yeah, those are, I guess if you want to use that heavy word, banned, then yeah. I mean, I don't buy them, and if somebody's playing them at a meetup, I'll play something else. So it's not like I'm trying to force what my likes on somebody else. It's just that I don't like playing those games. Let's see. This fellow says, I've been in the hospital after I smashed my back up. Ugh, really sorry about that. But found your channel. Just want to say thanks for all the great videos you guys have made. It has kept me sane over the last 2 months. Well, thank you for saying that. We certainly do appreciate it. We like little stories like that, and of course we're very sorry for the pain that you're going through. But at the same time, we enjoy hearing about how we're having a positive effect on other people. So thank you for piping up and saying something. I do appreciate that. Let's see here. He's going home in the morning. All right. Well, that's good. That's good. Awesome. Hope you do well on that road to recovery. I know that's got to be hard. Let's see here. How does Massive Darkness compare to Black Plague in difficulty? How do they compare to you overall? In difficulty, they are very similar. I don't think that one is more difficult than the other. However, I think that in Black Plague you can have a greater number of zombies hoarding up against you, and that makes it a little bit more difficult. With Massive Darkness, I think the difficulty spans from one part of the dungeon to the next. As the dungeon levels up, the monsters become a little bit more difficult to beat, but at the same time you're also leveling up, so it almost stays on an even keel. I have seen it where some of the guys have just kind of blown through those last monsters because they were either they got really lucky on the kinds of weapons they were able to find, or they just did well in leveling up their character on their stat sheet there. So, but it's fun either way. I think Black Plague is probably more difficult to win, but it's not more difficult to play. How do they compare overall? They have some similar mechanisms that are involved, and they of course have a very similar look because the same artwork and that type of thing. But I feel like Black Plague is more of a cooperative game, whereas Massive Darkness is that dungeon crawl game. So they have a different feel from that aspect. But I do enjoy them both. I like Black Plague a lot better than Massive Darkness, though. But again, Massive Darkness, had I made my top 100 after I had played it, probably would have fallen within my top 100 somewhere. It is a great game, and I do enjoy it a lot. Could you tell me which game you like more and why? Sword and Sorcery or Massive Darkness? Well, I like Sword and Sorcery better because I think it's a little bit more eccentric, and it does a few things that are a bit different. And Massive Darkness is more of a Gen Pop type feel to it, where a lot of people are going to gravitate towards it because you're getting a whole mess of miniatures and that type of stuff. But I think some of the differentiations in gameplay make Sword and Sorcery a bit better, in my opinion. But I really enjoy Massive Darkness. I'm doing well, Jay. Thank you for joining us here. Appreciate it, man. In your opinion, what are the best escape room style games? I do not have an opinion on that because I'm not a big fan of those kinds of games. Tom loves the snot out of those things, and so he's the person you need to ask that question to, and he will pontificate his answer probably. So go ahead and ask him that on his next Q&A. Yeah, Sam, that's right. I do like to do that. I do like to pretend that I am talking to you, and so that's cool. I'm glad you feel that way. I have not played this War of Mine, Douglas, so I can't tell you what I think about it. Tom has played it, and I don't know if Z has played it. I don't think he has, but yeah. Have you ever suffered board game burnout? Well, yeah, kinda, because I mean, when we, our 40+ hour a week job here is about board games, and so I've never really burnt out on playing games, but I have burnt out on the other thing, talking about them. that's the work for me. You know, putting the videos together, doing the editing, and all that kind of stuff. I can get burnt out on that pretty, not easily, but I have in the past. Especially when there's all the regular stuff that comes with having a job. You know, the deadlines are coming up, and you got to get this done. You got to get this done, and it becomes just kind of put your head down and get everything done, and you kind of forget the fact that you're doing this really cool hobby as your job, and it's that point, and that's to answer the second part. How do you manage to recover? Well, you simply sit back and you say, wait a minute, I've got a really cool job, so, and I enjoy doing it a lot, so chill, and that's pretty much where I have to come to it, because at the end of the day, this is a great job. I mean, there's nothing we can really say more than that. It's just it's a lot of fun. I get to travel a lot, but at the same time, I have a lot of time at home with my family as well. I get to meet a whole lot of different people across the world, which is one thing that I kind of grew up doing because my dad was in the Air Force. We did a lot of traveling around, and I missed that. I don't have the 3-year itch or anything like that. My dad still does a little bit, I think, but because you just get that after moving around so much. Yeah, you just have to remind yourself how good you have it sometimes, and even when it seems like there's so much, even when it seems like there's so much there's so many bad things going on, you have to sit back and kind of count your blessings, I guess you could say, and sometimes that even means sitting down with a piece of paper and writing down these different things that are going well or have gone well or continue to go well in your life, and you can see then how much all the good outweighs all the bad, and so that's how I manage. You just kind of sit back and say, okay, chill. This is a great job. You're having fun. Just keep having fun. So hopefully that helps. Wow, that was like philosophizing. When do we leave for Essen? We leave for Essen next week. We're going to be leaving, I think, on Monday. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Do I accessorize the games with lots of cubes, like Wards of Waterdeep, Kalis, and stuff like that? Not usually, but only because a lot of the stuff that I would buy to accessorize my games with and make them a little bit better and up the quality of the components, all that stuff is really expensive, and that's like nowhere in my budget, and I'm not gonna, it's just not a big deal for me. I don't sleeve cards in games because, quite frankly, I just take care of them when I do, and I try to make it a point to tell people that I want them to take care of the game while we're playing it. So if I feel like I need to, sometimes I don't. So I don't know. It's not that big of a deal to me, but if I can, yeah, I love to do that. Did I trim my beard? Yeah, a little bit. I try to keep it as trimmed as possible, but I don't even know how long this is going to last. But I don't know, we'll see. Let's see. What kind of new miniatures game do you want to see? What universe, what new mechanics would you like to see? Oh, wow. Honestly, and it's not new, it's an old game, and I already mentioned it earlier, but I would really like to see a reprint of Tannhäuser. It's so criminally overlooked. It is such a great game, and such a great line of sight mechanism. A lot of great characters in the game. A lot of great special powers. There's just so much good to that game, and it's been forgotten, except for by those who really enjoy the game. So it's kind of like a HeroScape type thing. But as far as, I don't know, I was just thinking the other day that there are so many miniatures games out there. There are so many. I mean, I just got contacted by Mantic Games about their new Star Saga, and they're going to be sending that to us. So I'm looking forward to that because, it's Mantic does a pretty good job. They're going to be sending the new, I think they're going to be sending me the new Ultimate Edition or whatever it's called of the Walking Dead game. So again, there's a lot of stuff out there, and to ask for more, it's like you're drinking from the fire hydrant and you're asking somebody else for a cup of water. I think there's so much out there. I haven't experienced everything that's out there. Why should I ask for something new? Because there's probably something that I haven't seen yet that would be exactly what I'm looking for. So I don't know. That's the easiest answer, I guess you could say. Let's see. Let's see. What do I think of Gloomhaven and Seventh Continent? I have literally played both of those exactly one time, and I've already stated my first impressions of. Did we talk about Seventh Continent? I can't remember. Yeah, we didn't do the thing. I like Seventh Continent. I think it's great, but again, I've only played it once, so I don't have that much experience with it. Gloomhaven, same thing. I think it's interesting. It's a huge game, but I've only played it once, so I can't really talk that much about it. I apologize. No, I didn't say don't peek behind the curtain. I said your peek behind the curtain will not be as interesting as you think it might be. That's what I meant. Let's see. What is my favorite themeless abstract game? Probably a game called Kodinka by Backspindle Games, and I think it's being distributed by Ninja Division here in America. Backspindle Games is a Ireland-based company, and I met them at UKGE 2 years ago. That when Kodinka was really coming out, and had a great time with the guys, and they showed me how to play the game, and I was enamored with it. I liked the compact nature of it. I liked the box that it comes in with the little magnetic clasp. I like how portable it is and how easy it is to teach. So that's probably my favorite. Can't remember, man. We just did the top 100. I can't remember if I have one that's higher than that. I don't know. You'll have to tell me later on. A year after, what are your thoughts on Sola Fide? Sola Fide is on my top 100. I don't mean that to be a spoiler, but it is a game that I really do enjoy. I like the back and forth nature of it. I love the drafting mechanism where you're drafting from your own deck, not from a communal deck. I enjoy the majority rule of the game. I'm not very good at it, but I enjoy playing it. So I think that says a lot. And I think the theme is pretty strong in it too. So it's a great game. I really enjoy it. Let's see here. Love to see more playthrough videos, and I would agree with you. We are going to be doing more playthrough videos. We're just kind of we're right in the middle of the gauntlet right now because we're getting ready to go to Essen next week. We're trying to get videos up for next week, so we're basically kind of working 2 weeks at a time, and we had a couple of good positive setbacks, and I know that sounds strange, but they were positive setbacks that we had to take time to play through some pretty hot games that were coming down the pipe, and we got kind of a first step on them. So, you know, it's first world problems. These are all good problems to have, but we've just been really busy lately, and so probably after Essen we're going to get some more playthroughs going. Derek and I were kind of quarterbacking that at nights, on different nights like Thursdays and Fridays before the hurricane hit. And then the hurricane hit, and we're still kind of reeling from that a little bit. Not really. We're pretty much back to normal, but that's the one thing that's been kind of put on the back burner, and we're trying to get everything back up and running, for everything else back up and running before we go back there. So I hear you. We're going to be doing that, but we just have to take a little bit more time to get it done. Let's see here. Do we ever play tabletop RPGs? Yeah, well, I used to play it all the time in high school, very much so. We're going to, as a Kickstarter, well, our Indiegogo campaign had one of the stretch goals was that we would play a full, I think, 8-hour session of an RPG. So that's still coming. We've not forgotten about that. That is still coming. So you keep your eye out for that one. That's going to be pretty fun. let's see. Oh goodness, there it went. It popped on me. It went down. Dumb chat box. All right, there we go. How about a top 10 solo games? Do you know me? I don't enjoy playing games solo more often than not. I think solo gaming for me is what video games are for. But that's just my opinion. That and $1.25 will get you a cup of black coffee just about anywhere. So I don't like playing solo games. Z has done a top 10 solo games, I think. Tom could even do maybe a top 10 solo games, but nah, I wouldn't be able to do that. I apologize. Let's see here. Was Cutthroat Kingdoms really that great? It just came out on Cool Stuff and I saw a negative review. Well, I'm going to be doing a review of it here after Essen. I did enjoy it a lot. It is not a nice game at all. It is very cutthroat. It is very mean, and it could be a little too long for a lot of people. But I enjoyed the gameplay a lot, and I'll be getting back to doing that a little bit later. It did make my top 100, so I really enjoyed the game. Other people have differing opinions. So again, that's why I always try to tell people to try before you buy, because even though I say something's good, you might not agree with me. But you won't know that really until after you've tried it. All you can do is you can take what I say, you take what somebody else says, you look at some gameplays, you look at some playthroughs, and then you kind of, at that point, you should have enough information to see whether or not you would agree with me or you're going to agree with somebody else. So, I mean, sure, I mean, negative reviews are going to happen. I mean, there's negative reviews on probably every game that's in existence. You just have to find them. But it's different strokes for different folks. I did enjoy it. The other guy didn't. I have not played Galaxy Defenders. So I apologize. +1 top 10 games with solo variant. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it. Have you heard anything about Gale Force 9's Firefly Adventures, Brigands, and Browncoats? I have not played it. I have not seen a demo. I have heard of it, though. But I'm always apprehensive with popular IPs like that, because not necessarily Gale Force 9, but there's always the tendency that people just take a popular IP and slap it onto a mediocre game, and then it'll sell because of the popular IP, and then that's about it. So you have first print runs, and maybe it won't even sell out. Maybe it'll sell a lot on the first print run because of the IP, but then it just, you know, diminishes because it's a mediocre game at its core. So I don't know. I'd sit down for a demo, that's for sure. Let's see. Do all of my kids like playing games? What are some favorite games you play with your 11-plus-year-olds? Catherine is probably the one that likes it the least. She's very academically minded, and sometimes she can't fit everything together as quickly as everybody else at the table does. So she probably likes it the least. She would probably much rather, you know, curl up in a blanket and read a book. And there's nothing wrong with that. But she does play games, but she probably likes it the least. Games that I've played with my older kids are, well, just about any of them really, except for, of course, the heavier ones, the longer ones. But like Catherine is the closest to 11. She's 14 now, and probably her favorite game is Star Realms that we've played together. She really enjoys that one. She asks to, well, before she had her own phone, she has to use my phone all the time multiple times to play the app on my phone. So that would probably be one that would be good. That's only 2-player though. We play Stone Age. We play Jamaica. We play Deception, Murder in Hong Kong is one of my kids' favorite games. So those are all really good family level games. Now, whether the theme is palatable for you, you'd have to make that own decision. But yeah, that's that. Let's see. Enjoying the beard. All right, good. I'm glad you're enjoying my beard. That's weird for me to say that. I apologize. What is your favorite teaching moment, not necessarily gaming related? Huh. Favorite teaching moment? I don't know. I guess I would have multiple of them because I love it when you see the light bulb come on. You know what I mean? And it's whether you're playing whether you're playing a game or whether you're teaching some concept in a classroom or some you know, some kind of philosophy or anything like that, and you just see the light bulb come on in the person's eyes. Now they understand. Now they get what you're talking about. Now they understand how that mechanism is going to benefit them throughout the course of a game. Now they understand what you meant when you were trying to teach them this, and so I guess that would be my favorite kind of teaching moment. You know, just when that light bulb clicks and there's understanding. So that would be cool. Sam, Warhammer Shadespire versus X-Wing, which one would you pick and why? Hello all the way from Kuwait. All right, hello. Wow. Goodness, I would, right now, currently, I would definitely pick Shadespire. I love its compact nature. It has a smaller footprint than X-Wing does. X-Wing takes a 3x3 at least table, you know, space on the table to play with, and a lot of tables aren't even big enough on one side of that box to support it. So you usually have to slip two tables together. Then you're playing in the middle of that. So yeah, Shadespire would definitely win out here. I mean, I like X-Wing, don't get me wrong. The miniatures are amazing. The gameplay is very fun, but it's got some restrictions to it. A lot of times when people come to a game store or something like that and they bring their X-Wing stuff, they're probably on a different level than I am. And they're more of a competitive, and I'm just like, dude, I get to fly an X-Wing around, you know? They're like wondering how they're going to get the right card on the right ship and pull this maneuver and do this and get this many. And I'm like, dude, I've got the Falcon on the table. So I enjoy X-Wing on a completely different level than a lot of the other people that are out there. But Shadespire, I'm really enjoying it. I just played it last night with Kenny from our game group at Cool Stuff in Kindle, and I really enjoy it. Now, I will say this. I don't think I'll ever play it with 3 or 4 players again because it just goes too long at that point. There's too many decisions that have to be made constantly throughout the course of a turn, and it really bogs the game down. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to playing it, I guess, but I don't think I'll ever seek out a 3 or 4 player game of Shadespire again. I love playing it with 2 players though. It's a really fun game, and I like how all of the different armies play very, very differently from the others. It's amazing how they are balanced and yet they are so asymmetrical. So yeah, my pick, long story short, would be Shadespire. Let's see. Jen, thank you for saying how much you appreciate the work we do. I'm glad we've been able to point you to some games, so thank you for saying so. Let's see. What do you think about expansions? I have a little collection and just got my attention to get the expansions for Merchants and Marauders and Mage Knight. Well, again, expansions give you, most of the time, I guess in a general sense, they give you a different way to play the game, or they give you more to use while you're playing the game the way the base game says that you should. So it just depends on how much you enjoy the game, whether or not you should be buying expansions for them. If it's just a okay game for you, and sure, it might stay on your shelf, but you don't know how much you know how much it'll hit the table, maybe you shy away from buying the expansions for that game. Or it could be that buying the expansion brings that game from just, yeah, it's a good game, to, wow, this is a great game. So you really have to kind of do your own research and find out what is in the expansion that you would be most interested in, and see if that's going to up the play or if it's just going to leave it the same. So that's kind of something, a question that you have to ask yourself and then answer yourself. Let's see here. I'm gonna go down here. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck? Well, I would not like to fight either of them, because I would probably get mauled by 100 duck-sized horses. And quite frankly, if I found a horse-sized duck, I want to tame that sucker and ride around on it. So, yeah, there you have. Have you played Rum and Bones? Yes, I've played Rum and Bones Second Tide as well. And your second question, what's it like? It is a variable player powers MOBA style game where the crew members are basically AI'd, and they're going to be on a certain track. They're going to be going on a certain track. We know what they're going to do every single time. And then you have a few characters that are special characters that you control, and you can pretty much take them wherever they want. They have their own special attacks, they have their own special abilities. You can upgrade their abilities and all this other kind of stuff. And it's usually one ship against another. You can play it 4-player, but it's better with Second Tide that way, but I really just enjoy it as a 2-player game because that's how it was designed. So each of the different factions that are out there, they have different characters in them that have different powers that are thematic to their faction. So it's really just a dice chucking fun, a lot of tactical type choices. You can have strategy in it, but the slightest little thing can throw your strategy out of whack. So I usually tend to it as more of a tactical game, and I really enjoy it. It has a very strong piratey feel to it. So it's a great game. Give it a try, and try before you buy, of course. I always say that, but give it a whirl. See what it's like. I think you'll enjoy it. Let's see here. No, I would not paint War of the Ring. They're so small. I hate painting small miniatures because my hands are like this when I paint, and it's just so difficult for me. My favorite kinds of miniatures, my favorite size is, I believe, the 32 millimeter that Games Workshop does. They're a little bit bigger now, I think, with some of their models. Their Marines are a bit bigger, but yeah, that's my favorite size of model. If you get smaller than that, it gets a little bit more difficult. Maybe, I don't think I'd go any smaller than like Blood Rage or something like that. And even then, I'm thinking of painting my Blood Rage set a little bit differently so I don't have to do all those little tiny details. So, yeah, tiny miniatures, not fun. Let's see here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to read these things fast, and I'm not reading very fast right now. Do you like Eclipse over Twilight Imperium? I think you know the answer to that question. But just in case you don't, no. Massive Darkness or Zombicide Black Plague? I like Black Plague better, but that doesn't mean you'll like it better. So I have more experience with Black Plague as well. So maybe that'll change over time, but I don't know. Right now, currently, I like Black Plague better than Zombicide Black Plague. I'm sorry, better than Massive Darkness, sorry. Let's see. What is your favorite thing about Essen besides the spiel? Well, you know what? The spiel is a mass of humanity, and I enjoy doing it as part of my job. And the reason I say it that way is because I enjoy working at the booth at Essen, meeting people, talking to them, meeting with designers and those kinds of guys. But the mass of humanity, I usually try to shy away from those kinds of activities. Being in large groups has always kind of made me a little nervous. Not debilitatively so, but I don't even know if that's a word, but hopefully you understand what I mean. It doesn't bother me to the point of like I can't function, but I would just rather not be there. I mean, I would much rather just work at the booth than just leisurely stroll around the halls. So my favorite part of the spiel is working at the booth. I enjoy going out and demoing games, don't get me wrong, and talking to people I haven't seen in a few months, but I would prefer to be at the booth and just chill and be able to enjoy the conversations that we have with people that come by. But I also used to live in Germany. I lived in Germany. My dad was stationed at Bitburg Air Force Base before it shut down back in the 80s, and I love Germany as a country. First of all, it's a beautiful country. I love the climate. The people are really cool as well. So yeah, I think probably the best thing about Essen is going back and visiting Germany. But second to that is being able to work the booth. Let's see here. Greetings from Hungary. Hello. Have you ever played any LCGs or CCGs? Yeah, we used to play Decipher's Star Wars CCG. We also used to play Overpower. Sorry, the comic book card game. We used to play that. We used to play the BattleTech CCG. Those are the three that I was really into, but not anymore. I just can't afford that model of marketing anymore. It's too expensive. Let's see. Let's see. In your opinion, would Pandemic Legacy Season 1 and Season 2 play well with 2 players? And if so, would you recommend 2 or 4 characters? I couldn't tell you. I usually play the medic because that's just what I enjoy doing. I get a certain amount of pleasure from trying to make sure that those diseases kind of stay down. I've never played it with 2 players though, so I couldn't really weigh in on that. The least I've ever played it with is 3. So, and it was fun with 3. Oh, let's see. Berkey! Yeah. Hi, Berkey. You like the beard. Did the wife put me up to this? No, actually, she was confused by it. Because I've always said that I don't like beards. Because they're scratchy. But there's a little bit of beard envy with you and Lance. So you're part of the reason why I'm growing the beard. So we'll see. We'll see how long it lasts. Any opinions on Keys to the Kingdom? No, I've never played the game. I apologize. And the reason I say that is because that's the second time I've seen it. So I just wanted to let you know I'm not ignoring you. I just don't have anything to say about it. That's all. This is an interesting question. Sword and Sorcery core box is under $60. Massive Darkness is around $100. In your opinion, is Sword and Sorcery simply a better deal based on the amount of gameplay each provides? No, not really, because really how much enjoyment you get out of gameplay might be bolstered by the fact of how much you get in Massive Darkness's box as compared to how much you get in Sword and Sorcery's box. You definitely get less in the box as far as miniatures are concerned, at least. But as far as gameplay is concerned, I don't know that you get less in either or, although I'm still waiting to see, and I haven't kept my ear down to the ground about whether or not they're going to be releasing more campaigns for Sword and Sorcery. I think they might be. I think I may have heard something through the rumor mill about it. So if that's the case, I don't think you're getting more gameplay in either or. I think it's about even, because I know that Massive Darkness has an expansion campaign coming out and will be available. So you're simply getting more plastic in Massive Darkness. I think you might have a more Gen Pop feel to the rules of Massive Darkness, where it'll be a little bit more palatable, a little bit easier to get into, and people who like RPGs, I think will gravitate towards Sword and Sorcery a little bit more, because it feels like an RPG as a board game, whereas Massive Darkness feels like a board game dungeon crawl. So it's a little bit different, but I usually try to stay away from arguments about is this game worth this price, because I can't answer that for you. I can't make the determination if $60 is worth it. I can't tell you that $100 is worth Massive Darkness, because that might be your $100 that's left in the bank account, right? And you need it for food or whatever. That's an extreme, but you get what I'm saying. I can't tell you how to spend your finances. I can just tell you about the game, and then you have to make the decision on whether or not your $100 is worthy of that game, or that game is worthy of your $100 rather. Ashley, happy birthday, number 33. Very cool. Hope you enjoy it. Which board game do you dislike the most? I couldn't tell you. Usually when I dislike a game, it just gets flushed from memory. And then when I'm reminded, I'm like, oh yeah, man, I hate that game. So I usually try to forget about the games I don't like that much. Have I played Kingdom Death Monster? No, I have not. And I don't, the time commitment that's necessary for the game, I don't think I ever will get it to the table. There's so many other games. You saw our queue of games to be reviewed in the other studio, you'd understand what I'm talking about. And we're about to go to Essen, where we have no less than 350 games that we are going to try to be bringing back. So we just don't have the time to spend on those more lifestyle kind of games that take a whole lot of time, like a whole day. Even one of my favorite games of all time, Twilight Imperium, it hits the table once, maybe twice a year. So you got to understand, we have a real time crunch when it comes to how many games we play and what games we choose to play and that kind of thing. So let's see. Let's see here. I'm going to skip down a little bit. I apologize for some of you people in the middle. I did see the question, what do you think about Mac and Chess? Mac and Chess is a new board game cafe that has popped up here in the Miami area. And they have, in my estimation, the best pulled pork sandwiches in the area. They get their pulled pork shipped in from St. Louis or something like that, and it is amazing. The owner's wife makes the cheesecakes, and she is very good at that. The mac and cheese that they make, the French fries that they make, they're all like homemade. They have this very special, oh man, the food is amazing. My only thing is that I wish they had a bigger location, because there's very few places to sit in there. They can probably hold about 30 to 35, and that's if we jam pack everybody in. I mean, there'd be enough room for everybody, but that's my only drawback. I hope they do good enough. I hope they do well enough in business to where they can move out and get into a bigger place, because their food definitely deserves it. The owners are great people, and they're very fun to play games with, very amicable. So I like the store a lot. I give them my full support. They're great. They have great food, great ambiance within the store as far as the general mood of everybody involved. So I hope they do well. All right, let's see here. I have completely lost my place in chat. So let's see. Okay, there's that one. Let's see here. That's funny. Jacob, who do you think would win in a fight, Ignacy or Steven? Bonacore is a little fireball, and I'm pretty sure he might take Ignacy. But Ignacy might have just, you know, I don't know. He might just have something up his sleeve that he pulls out the win. So it could really go either way. They're both kind of surprising in their own little ways. So, but I don't know. I'm not a betting person, but if I were, probably put my money on Bonacore just because, you know, he's the Podfather. Let's see here. Going down here, let's see. A lot of people calling each other brothers. We'll be like it, brother. Yep, sure thing, brother. All right, brother. I love that word, man. It's so endearing. What is my favorite naval combat game? If it's out of print, what's your favorite in-print naval combat game? Well, I don't have, I guess you could say, a favorite like war-gamey type naval combat game. Probably my favorite naval combat game is Captain Sonar, because I just love that team back and forth with that huge divider in between. So that's probably my favorite one. Let's see. Update review on Star Wars Armada. Wow. Kaz, I wish I could do that. I haven't played Armada in so long, I'd probably have to read the rule book over again to be able to play it again, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's the thing, man. Armada and X-Wing are they're kind of competing for the same territory, you know what I mean? So it's really difficult. And then you have other miniature games that kind of scratch the same itch, that are a little bit shorter, take a little bit less time to set up, and so forth and so on. So again, it's one of those lifestyle games, you know, X-Wing, Magic, those games that just, if you really want to get good at them, you have to pour a lot of time and energy into them. I just don't have it, you know. So, yeah, I might dig it up and try to hit it up again, but we'll see. We'll see. Pete, all right, Pete showed up. Let's see what Pete has to say. What has you more excited, Star Wars Episode 8, the movie, or Star Wars Legion, Fantasy Flight? Well, definitely the movie. I talked about this a little bit earlier, where there are just so many miniatures games out there, and it's just overload at this point. There's so many different companies coming out with, at least on the outside looking in, decently produced, well ruled out games that have a ton of miniatures in them. And whereas I am a huge Star Wars fan, that is just another, to use probably an overstatement, it's just another brick in the wall at this point, you know? I don't know. I don't think that I'm going to ever try Legion. Now, if somebody, you know, corners me and I don't have anything else to do and says, here's Legion, will you give it a try? Of course, I'll give it a try. I just don't know if I'm going to go out and seek it because there's so many out there. And yeah, sharks are pretty cool, Pete. You got that right. Hello, Kabuki. Welcome. And let's continue on. Let's see. If you could tame any horse-sized animal, what would you tame? I would never have fear if I had my own horse-sized tiger. That would be awesome. And yes, I am thinking about He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. I'm sorry. It doesn't have to be green with orange stripes, but I would love to have me. Actually, it would be cool if it was like a white tiger. Oh yeah, that would be cool. And I would totally not feel afraid almost everywhere I went, because I had a horse-sized white tiger following me around protecting me. That would be awesome. Back to the chat. That was quite strange, I imagine. Let's see. Have I ever flipped a table? No. I have actually never flipped a table. That would be incredibly rude. But I have thrown cards at a board in such a fashion that the board got wiped with my deck of cards, my hand of cards, and that was the, in essence, that was a table flip, although it wasn't a literal table flip. That was definitely the mood I was in. So I've never actually flipped a table, but I have definitely wanted to. What is my favorite war game? Well, my favorite war game is Memoir 44, by far, and above many of the other ones. Now, I do also enjoy Heroes of Normandy. It's a great system, and I'm so pumped for the Heroes of Blackreach that's coming from that collaboration between Games Workshop and Yellow and Devil Pig. So I like that one a lot. I also like the Combat Commander system. I think that's about as far down the cardboard chit war games that I want to go is Combat Commander. That's about as far as I want to go with that one. But Heroes of Normandy, Memoir 44, Tide of Iron was also good, but I didn't like the bases and having to stick each of those little miniatures in the bases at the beginning of the game. I thought it was cool because you could actually build your own squad, but it was too fiddly. It was impractical. A good idea, but just not practical. What is this year? What was Hanami Koji this last year? Wow. I don't know yet because we haven't got to the end of the year yet, so we'll see. How do you feel about two-player standalone non-CCG card games similar to Magic? If you're talking about something like Star Realms, yeah, that's cool. Hero Realms, yeah, that's great. Hanami Koji, we just mentioned that. It's a little two-player, not Magic the Gathering like, but it's a little two-player card game that's really fun and does no CCG elements there at all. I like those. I like having those kinds of games because those are the kinds of games that usually my wife and I gravitate towards. Onitama is very similar. It's a two-player game, abstract, not a card game, but I like it. But again, I don't like the Magic part of it. I'm not a big fan of Magic the Gathering. It's not that I have anything against the game. It's just that I don't really enjoy the game that much. So I don't like it. Let's see here. Can I buy you a beer at Essen? Will you play a game with me in exchange? Well, you don't have to buy me a beer because I don't drink alcohol, but I will play a game with you if I have the time. And if the planets align and all that kind of stuff, yeah, I'm willing to play games with people. It's just that we do have a busy schedule of things that we have to get done, and there's not a whole lot of space to play games at Essen. It's almost like you have to find a place outside of Essen to go play a game. And so if that happens, absolutely, yeah, I'm up for playing games with people, but it just has to coincide with my schedule. And I apologize, that's kind of a necessary evil. Let's see here. Do I like Tiny Epic Quest? I don't like any of the Tiny Epic games, but I say that not having played any of them as well. I don't like the idea behind them. I don't like having these little tiny games that are supposed to feel epic. Now, Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea or something to that effect, that is one that some of my miniature game buddies have said that they have tried and they really enjoyed, and they said that I would probably enjoy it as well. So I do want to try that one out. But the little tiny ones, I'm not really on board. Usually I want a game that has more of a footprint, more of a larger thing to look at, so to speak. Let's see. Chances of being able to play a game with you or some other Dice Tower guys at PAX Unplugged. Well, we're going to be, our home base, so to speak, is going to be in the Geek and Sun table, the Geek and Sun board gaming tables booth. And we are going to, I am going to be at least, I don't know what the other guys are doing. I'm going to have a schedule, and we haven't got that schedule yet, of games that I'm going to be playing on one of their tables in their booth. So be looking for those, because usually it'll probably be kind of like a sign-up type thing. I don't know what it's going to be, but that's what we're doing. And I'm really pumped about that because that was my idea. So that was fun. Let's see. Is Sheriff of Nottingham Merryman worth getting? Well, I'll tell you what, Kevin. I bought a copy of it at Cool Stuff last night, so that should tell you something. I wanted a copy of it for my copy of Sheriff of Nottingham, so I think it's a great little thing that adds a little bit of a twist to Sheriff of Nottingham. So I think it was. I bought it myself. So there you have it. What is Dulcie's favorite game? Oh man, why'd you put me on the... Dulcie's favorite game is Carcassonne. And I don't know which version of Carcassonne is her most favorite. It might just be basic Carcassonne. But that is the first board game that she actually bought for me, and she bought it for me because she liked it so much. So, and so yeah, that's her favorite game. Can you repeatedly attack opponent in Quantum to the point of annoying the other person? Yes, you can, Jared. Very much so. So, is it hard to keep the hype out of the way when doing one of the big Miami Dice reviews? It is. I usually want to try, because I don't like being part of that hype train where, you know, it just seems like we're hyping up a game just for the sake of hyping it up. And let me also say that we don't do that. If we are excited about a game, it is because we are genuinely excited about it. It's not that we're trying to build the hype. And so this is where I go back to what I've said before. You really have to do your own research. If, for example, you know that your tastes align with mine and I'm excited about a game, great. Now do a little bit more research and try to watch a playthrough video or try to watch somebody else and get a counterpoint. If you know that your tastes align more with Z and Z's hyped about a game, great. Do a little bit more research. Find out if maybe this is one of those places where Z's taste kind of takes a jaunt off into a forked path, or maybe mine has, and it's not going to quite line up with what you like. So, I mean, you got to watch reviewers, and you have to understand that our likes and dislikes won't always align with yours. And if they do most of the time, that's a good thing. Now you found a reviewer, whoever it might be, that you can listen to, and you can say, you know, 95% of the time or whatever it is, I like a game that they have recommended. So that means that there's a possibility, at least, a very strong possibility, that if they recommend this game, that I'm going to like that, you know. So there's that. But it doesn't always work. So you got to do that extra work. You got to do that extra little push to see if it's going to be something that you're going to enjoy. All right. So let's see here. How do you keep up with so many games that come out every year? Do you do anything to make sure that you don't have fear of missing out? I do not have fear of missing out. We have so many games in our queue, and we're about to get so many more. We don't have time for fear of missing out. I apologize. Let's see. Glad to catch the live stream. Glad you are there. Okay, last few minutes. Let's do. We'll do 5 minutes of lightning round, where you give me 2 possibilities, and I have to choose one of them. That's what we're going to do. We usually close out our live, at least I do. I don't know if anybody else does anymore, but that's what I will do. While we're waiting on those to start coming up, I'll get some of these latter ones. Python Life, shout out please. Well, does that count? Yeah, I know. Let's see. A couple of these here. What's my favorite miniatures game? Blood Rage. Blood Rage, yeah, we'll go with that. Do I like Paladins? Yes. Okay, here we go. We've got them coming in. Beard or goatee? Beard. Gloomhaven or Descent. At this point, I've only played Gloomhaven once, so Descent. Vicious Fishes or Nothing Personal. Neither? No, no. Nothing Personal. Let's see here. Stone Age or Fresco? Stone Age. Vader or Kylo? Vader. Come on. Let's see. Legion or Ice and Fire miniatures game? Ice and Fire at this point. Meatballs or bratwurst? Bratwurst. You're making Tom sweat over here. Golden Age Games or Simon? Ooh. Well, Simon, yeah, but I do like some of their stuff. Those are two companies shouldn't be compared to each other. That's what I meant by my stopping there. Brick or stucco? See what you did there, Kabuki. That's funny. I like brick better, by the way. Legacy 2 or Charterstone? I'm not going to answer that right now. I know, but I'm not going to because we haven't done it completely. Let's see. It skipped on me again. He-Man or Skeletor? He-Man. Duh. Twilight Imperium or Star Wars Rebellion? Twilight Imperium. Do female dwarves have beards? Yes, and they're beautiful for having them. At least that's what I hear. Hanami Koji or Onitama? I want to say Hanami Koji. Avalanche or Penguins? Ugh. I'm going to say Avalanche because I don't really like the Penguins. Fly fishing or golf? Oh. Fly fishing? Because I don't like golf at all. Gum or beef jerky? Beef jerky. Imperial Salt or Shadespire? Right now, Shadespire. Wisdom or intelligence? Wisdom. Wisdom, yeah. Let's see. Clank in space or a trip to space? Why would you even... I would take the trip to space. Come on. Revenge of the Sith or Attack of the Clones? Revenge of the Sith. Alien or Predator? Ugh. Alien 2 specifically. Aliens, I guess. Wild West or Sci-Fi? Either. Depends on the game. Power Grid or Marco Polo? Power Grid. New York strip with potatoes versus baby back ribs and mac and cheese. Oh. One for lunch and one for dinner. Essen or Gen Con? I'm going to say Essen because I like Germany that much. But as far as the actual conventions are concerned, I like Gen Con better. Star Trek or Star Wars? You don't know me. Frodo or Sam? Definitely Sam. He was the beast. Frodo was just carrying the ring. I am biased. Destro or Zartan? Oh, man, I don't know. I'm going to say Zartan. I like him a little bit better. Madness or Betrayal? Mansions of Madness by far. Sushi or steak? Ooh, both. But sushi's, yeah, sushi is lighter and better for you, so I'll go with sushi. But man, I love steak too. Lords of Waterdeep, Champions of Midgard. Again, you don't know me. Champions of Midgard. Chickpea or garbanzo bean? I have no idea. And my family won't like it if I eat either of them, so neither. Cubs or Blackhawks? Both, you infidel.
Now you gotta pick one.
No, I don't. I will not. Teleport or mind reading? I guess that's the idea of what thing. Definitely teleporting, because that would just be cool. I save a lot on plane tickets too. Let's see. Spilling coffee or beer? Well, I don't spill beer, so spilling coffee is worse. Spring forward or fall back? I don't really care. I wish we wouldn't have to do either of those. Ford or GM? Again, I don't care. I just want the cheapest, most fuel-efficient car. Yankees or Astros? I'm going to have to go with the Astros because I'm from Texas. So I hope that the Astros win, unless by some stroke of magic the Cubs decide to pull out of their thing. In that case, I want the Cubs to win the World Series. But as far as the ALCS, I want the Astros to win. Carcassonne or Medieval War? Not similar enough for me to say. Sword and Sorcery, Descent 2nd Edition. Right now, Sword and Sorcery. Chicago Bears or Man United? Both. Two different sports. I don't have to choose. Dead of winter or the long night? Right now, dead of winter. And I think that is about it. Well, last one. Would I rather play a game with Will Ferrell or Bill Murray? Bill Murray, because he's also a Cubs fan. There you have it. That is it for this live Q&A. I want to thank you once again for joining me. I hope that I have been informative for you and that it has also been entertaining in some way, shape, or form. So, without further ado, thanks for joining me. We'll see you guys later on. And now I have to go over here and click the stop streaming. And it didn't click. Now I'm clicking it. And it says, okay.